You witnessed the rarest of things, Warden. The Dalish stand ready to defend Ferelden. We have assembled on a short schedule. Certain factors of equipment could be better. Crafting components would serve best. Basic ones like elf root and deep mushroom.
I shall do it.
Generous as always, Warden.
You're quite taken with each other, aren't you? Well, she's hardly discreet. The way she looks at you, it's as though she's completely forgotten there's anything of you above the waist. I've noticed your blossoming relationship, and I wanted to ask you where you thought it was going. She is a cunning woman, a Maleficar. She will use you for her own ends. That is some consolation, at least. Just remember to be wary. You are a Grey Warden. You have responsibilities which supersede your personal desires. Love is ultimately selfish. It demands that one be devoted to a single person who may fully occupy one's mind and heart to the exclusion of all else. A Grey Warden cannot afford to be selfish. You may be forced to make a choice between saving your love and saving everyone else. And then what would you do? You may have to save one or both of you unnecessary anguish later on. I know more about love's enchantment and its perils than I care to tell, but perhaps this is one lesson that cannot be taught. I have given my advice. Do with it what you will.
Something on your mind? Of course. Never what? Had a good pair of shoes? Oh, so that's what we're talking about. Well, if you really want to know, you tell me first. And apparently you have no shame as well. Well, all right, I'll play along. I myself never had the pleasure. Not that I haven't thought about it, of course. But, you know. Oh, that's funny. Your cruel japes will be remembered, sir. If you hear sobbing later, that's me crying myself to sleep. Ha ha ha. Your cruel interrogation will be remembered forever. Or maybe just until lunch. Lunch makes everything better. Oh, look, I have cheese.
Here I am. Oh, this should be good. Go ahead. I know little enough of the Dalish other than the fact that my mother was one, or so I was told. She had fallen in love with an elven woodcutter and accompanied him back to the city, leaving her clan behind for good. And there, of course, the woodcutter died of some filthy disease and my mother was forced into prostitution to pay off his debts. Oldest tale in the book. Is it? It seemed normal enough a tale growing up. No different than the other elven boys in the whorehouse. I didn't know my mother either, of course. She died giving birth to me. My first victim, as it were. We were all raised communally by the whores. It was a happy enough existence, ignoring the occasional beating. Until eventually I was sold to the crows. I brought a good price, so I hear. It could have been much worse. Shall I tell you about what happened to the other whorehouse boys who did not fetch a decent price with the crows? Surely your life has not been so idyllic. People like you and I are not the product of happy lives of contentment, after all. My original point is that my mother's Dalish nature was always a point of fascination for me. Through all the years of my crow training, the one thing of my mother's that I possessed was a pair of gloves. They were of Dalish make, I knew that much, and beautiful. I had to keep them hidden, of course, as we were not allowed such things. Eventually, they were discovered, and I never saw them again. Not at all. I think of myself as Antivan. Still, that did not stop me from running off to join a clan when I drew near Antiva City once. Naturally, the reality did not live up at all to the fantasies I had constructed as a boy, staring at those gloves. But such is life. Come, enough talk of the Dalish. Let us move on.
Your dog is filthy. I can smell him 50 yards off. That may be so, but all the same, I would like your permission to bathe him. Excellent. I will get my soaps, and the dog shall have his bath after supper.
I see it found some augmentation crystals. I was not even aware it knew about them. Well done. So, what does it think? They don't make me look any wider, do they? I find I'm already too wide as it is. It must be the vertical pattern it put them in. Did it know to do that? It must have. I think it should find some more as soon as possible. I want to glitter from ear to ear, so to speak.
I have been mistaken. You are a soldier worthy to stand among the Beresad. I did not think so when we first met. You are welcome. The day will come when the Arishok sends us here. On that day, I will not look to find you on the battlefield. In time. There is no point in dwelling on it. We should move on. Speak, then. Ours wear the faces of men. No, they do not have the excuse of demons within them. Darkspawn, abominations, plagues, and storms. Men are far more dangerous than these. One moment of betrayal can bring more ruin than an earthquake. You know this. They are Tal-Vashoth. They say they are Grey Ones. True in the knowledge of themselves. They are gaping holes where men used to be. Nothing can fill them. There was a village in the mountains of Saharan. Farmers. They grew cinnamon and nutmeg trees in perfectly ordered rows. There would always be one person waiting, a foreman, a harvester, rank didn't matter. Often they would say nothing. Simply watch as we worked to examine the empty house, a new one each time, that had once been the home of a colleague, a friend. We always made a point of searching. Now and then a body would turn up in a river eaten by rain and crows. More often we found nothing. Even in the worst parts of the jungle, the villagers would send someone with us to see the tiniest piece of bone or cloth. Anything contained the possibility of their lost friend. Must we speak of this? We could be fighting something. Very well. Isn't it the nature of a wound to bleed? I have no more answers than you. Why do we fight the Darkspawn? Why do the Darkspawn fight us? You are. Why do you fight? In the Antam, we are told of the enemy. Assume he loves as you love, hates as you hate, and fights just as hard as you. It's a lie, of course. But does that matter? So long as you stand and believe you know your enemy. The Tal-Vashoth wish us dead, and we wish to go on living. The point of our war is war. Very well. Undoubtedly, they've used it to kill countless people. No, but they don't care what I think. I have no feelings you can hurt, Warden. Very well. Then I suggest we move on. As you wish.
Gloves? You're giving me gloves? What for? Maker's breath. You're right. It is like my mother's. The leather was less thick and it had more embroidery, but these are very close and quite handsome. Do I seem surprised? Perhaps I am. Still, I appreciate the fact that you even thought of me. No one has simply given me a gift before. Thank you. Are we going to get to enter Orzammar? I don't believe they allow non-dwarves within.
Are we descending into the underground? The thought of so much rock over one's head is disquieting.
Most traders aren't allowed into Orzammar, so they just sort of gather near the doors. There's no laws up here at all, I'm told.
Yes? Oh? What was this about? I worried this might happen. I hoped it wouldn't be you who came for me. I have no choice. Forgive me, Warden, but I cannot go back with you.
Good-looking Mabari you have there. The Mabari is the king of dogs. Respect him and he will be your closest companion, and your most loyal defender. I was chosen by a Mabari myself years ago. I was one of the Ash Warriors, under the command of the old King Merrick. We laid down our lives for the king and for freedom, and my beloved Valder paid the ultimate price. Nothing was the same after that. They say a Mabari bonds with his human, but they often leave out that the bond goes both ways. No other Mabari could have taken his place. What is an Ash Warrior without his hound? There was nothing for me there anymore, and so I left. Look at me. I'm an old man. There is no place for me on the battlefield. I know about the Blight, and were I but 10 years younger, I would fight. but my time is past. Wait a moment. Perhaps there is something I can do to help. You must know about Caddis, the paint we use to create patterns on the fur of the Mabari. I know some old patterns from a generation ago. I can teach them to you in exchange for some coin.
What can I do for you? This ought to be interesting. Such diction. This man is a true scholar and rhetorician. I am honored to be fired by one such as he. Good day.
Designs you have all over your back.
They're called tattoos, and I have them in many places than just on my back, my friend.
Right. I hear that someone gets those by having needles put the ink under your skin.
A great many needles, amongst other things, yes. That would be true.
Didn't that hurt?
Oh, yes, yes. But it is not so bad, in truth. If you like, I could give you one. I learned a bit of the art myself in Antiva.
Oh, no. No, I don't think so.
It will just be a small one. Perhaps the symbol of the Grey Wardens. Something manly. Where are my needles?
Maybe some other time. I'm going to go stand over here now.
Oh, you wish to talk to me? Surely it's a courtesy for one so well-armed to notice a lowly merchant. Someone has to. Trade with us, dry up. We surfacers are Orzammar's lifeline. Even if we're denied a cast, the Assembly says we've turned our back on the stone, but they still use the goods we bring. Hypocrites. Maybe it'll change by the time my children are grown. Twice a year, I'm confined to a trade stall in the Commons, but I see enough. It's very closed in. My grandfather says I've lost my stone sense. I was born topside. I don't remember having it. Best of luck to you.
King Loghain will not suffer the...
Vieta! This land is held in trust for the sovereign Dwarven kings. I cannot allow entry at this time.
King Loghain demands the allegiance of the Desher, or lords, or whatever you call them in your assembly. I am his appointed messenger.
I don't care if you're the king's wiper. Orzammar will have none but its own until our throne is settled.
Who doesn't? If I don't get in, no one should.
Orzammar has no king. Endrin Idukan returned to the stone not 3 weeks ago, sick over the loss of his sons. The Assembly has gone through a dozen votes without agreeing on a successor. If it is not settled soon, we risk a civil war.
Wait, who are you to speak for Ferelden? You're no messenger to Loghain, that's for certain.
Thank the ancestors.
The Wardens killed King Cailan and nearly doomed Ferelden. They're sworn enemies of King Loghain.
Well, that is the Royal Seal. That means only the Assembly is authorized to address it. Grey Warden, you may pass.
You're letting in a traitor? And a foreigner? In the name of King Loghain, I demand that you execute this stain on the honor of Ferelden. You'll hear of this. King Loghain will see you quartered.
You are free to enter Orzammar, Grey Warden. Though I don't know what help you will find.
Trost follow, Warden. Your arrival is a mixed blessing. We prefer that outsiders not witness our infighting, but your presence will be tolerated.
Those statues are dwarven paragons, if I remember right. The best of their ancestors.
If there is anything complimentary to be said about these people, 'tis that they possess a remarkable facility for carving stone.
My lord.
Now that's a thing of beauty, daughter. If you work hard like Branka, all Orzammar will know your name. Mother, I don't want to be like her. She...
Don't say that. Not to me, not to anyone. Now get back to the forge. I want to see more details.
Show respect, Surfacer. You're in the Hall of Heroes, home to the best of us. Paragons, dwarves who achieve such greatness, they're considered ancestors even if they yet walk among us. If only we had one now. A unifier. A voice like that, there would be no dissension. Surfacers always assume nothing happens underground without them. Many are trying, despite our stalemate. Goodbye, Warden. I hope you're not needed.
So tell me, was the Tower of Magi everything you thought it would be?
Abominations running rampant? Templars ready to slaughter every mage in sight? Yes, it rather met all my expectations.
You don't think you might have been better off getting your training there, instead of whatever your mother taught you?
You're right. My mother didn't nearly have as many abominations running about. That certainly would have improved my education.
I'll give you that one.
I'm so relieved.
It is the Assembly who makes a king, and a king who nominates his successor. None of it is carried in the blood.
Or, as now, when someone tries using the Assembly to pull a coup. Who's to say what my father said in his final hours, when the usurper Harrowmont was the only one by his side?
I'll have you thrown in prison.
You've bitten off more than you can chew!
Handlers, separate these dashers in the Diamond Quarter. I will not have Balin incite a riot.
Not speak that way about the man who should be king!
I'll have him in the Legion. Vieta, Surfacer. I'm bid to let you walk the commons, but keep your place. Warden or not, I... Surface problems. Well, we have no king to hear you. You can join the shouting at the Assembly in the Diamond Quarter if you want. Bunch of Desher lords bickering over sand. Balin, Harrowmont. Is one so different? No paragons here. They've caged themselves for fear of each other. As you've seen, keeping order down among us working people is dodgy. No place for a proper lord. Balin speaks through his second, Vartag Gavorn, in the Assembly. Lord Harrowmont speaks through Dulin Ferender from his estate. Surfacers appoint no paragons? Truly, you're lost in all that sky. They are the best of us, declared living ancestors. If you must be our warden, at least know us. Go to the Shaper of Memories in the Shaperate, the true bright spot in the Diamond Quarter. See, that's why I don't want you surfacers seeing our worst. You'll think that's all we are. The market is thin, but busy, and the tavern never closes. Bad blood is usually kept to the proving. Should toss Balin and Harrowmont in there, sort this all out in a hurry. Personal battles for honor and ancestor. I don't expect a surfacer to understand. If you must be our warden, at least know us. Go to the Shaper of Memories in the Shaperate, the true bright spot in the Diamond Quarter. Yes, you should.
Wow. So this is Orzammar. It's huge.
Where did they put all the rock, I wonder?
Now that is a remarkable amount of lava. Do you think anyone ever falls in?
Ancestors, guard my son, for he is lost in darkness. Mothers, keep him safe, for you know what it is to mourn. I'm sorry. Did you have an offering for the ancestors? Although, I can't imagine your ancestors reside in the stone. My name is Vilda, widow of Turok of the Smith caste. I pray here every day for my son, Ruck. I only wish I knew whether I should be asking for his safe return or for the ancestors to accept his soul. It was 5 years ago. He was only a youngster. He joined a Deep Roads excursion, the only smith to go with the warriors to repair their arms. He was so proud, but he got separated somehow. When they came home, he wasn't with them. The captains don't want to lose anyone searching for stray men. Too many were taken by Darkspawn that way. The deep roads are where Darkspawn come from. They descend for miles into the earth, and we must patrol them constantly or be overrun. I lost my husband to them. If I lost my son the same way... How? There is no way except to brave the deep roads yourself. A warden. So you could do it. Only wardens face the deep roads without a company backing them. Oh, thank you. The ancestors finally heed my prayers.
Don't get your hopes up. We could search the deep roads for decades with no sight of the boy.
Please, find me as soon as you return.
What is that smell? Dwarven vomit. Charming.
Drunken dwarves. What could be the harm in a few of those?
I do not even want to think from what manner of substance a cave-dwelling people would create their spirits.
Maker's blessing on you, brother. Ah, it's a great pleasure to meet a fellow believer. I'm Brother Burgle of the Red Cliff Chantry, returned to my ancestors' land to spread the chant of light.
Even in the very bowels of the earth, we hear no end of this chant.
And that is something to rejoice in, good sister. I'm petitioning to open a chantry in Orzammar. The Shapered controls changes in Orzammar's structure and society. I need the Shaper of Memory's permission for a prayer meeting. The Shaper of Memories controls the Shapered, Orzammar's record system. Like the Chantry's historians, but more thorough. They track the births and lineage of every dwarf born in the city, every property sale, death in battle, marriage, or divorce. The Shaperette is in the prime tier of the city, near the royal estate. Does this mean you will help me then? I can see the Maker's hand on your shoulder, guiding you always.
If this chantry could help just one person as much as it helped me, it's worth any trouble.
Please let me know as soon as you've heard anything.
Someone puked here. Barmaid, clean that up.
Atrust Valis, stranger. You must be the Grey Warden we heard about. Welcome to Tapsters. I'm Cora, your hostess. How may I serve you? So you come to Tapsters? I guess you're not asking for anything official, or you'd be at the Shaperate. But I can certainly give you a mole's eye view. The nobles stay upstairs, except when they're slumming. You'll find the assembly there, the palace, the Shaperate, and plenty of estates. Down from here is just Dust Town or the mines, so my recommendation is avoid. It's not part of the city, just some old tunnels where the castlists build their nest. No one goes there if they can help it. But if you want fun, your best bet is the Proving. It's a chance for all the best fighters in Orzammar to test their skills. There's a tournament today. Arenas between here and the Diamond Quarter. With 52 types of ale, 17 types of mead, and a dozen imported wines, we should be able to serve your needs. What do you have? I recommend a Brakian brew. She has a heavy head and a deep, rich taste. 3 silvers gives you a pint. A Brakian brew never fails to hit the spot. Vartag Gavorn certainly owes Prince Balin. From a minor house to a prince's right-hand man. He'd do anything Balin asked him. Well, I have other customers to see too. If you need anything else, just call me over.
Told him I don't understand why the provings aren't open to everyone. I mean, it's how the ancestors show their favor. Do they really need our help to decide who's worthy? And then he practically slapped me. Lord Dennick Helmi, honored Desher of the Orzammar Assembly, and terrible disappointment to my esteemed mother, who doesn't like me spending time in taverns. You understand what I'm saying, right? On the surface, there are no castes, and it works fine. Am I right, Warden? But there are those like you who see this with concern, no? Well, I've taken the time to actually talk to the other castes. You know, most smiths and tavern keeps would make decent deshers if we gave them a chance and a seat in the assembly. Orzammar are so mired in tradition, no one bothers asking if the castes are even necessary. Me and 79 other fine, upstanding examples of how someone who's born into every privilege inevitably wants more. They're not fond of my views on equality. I doubt either candidate has been outside the Diamond Quarter in his life. But Lord Harrowmont seems a bit more forgiving. Prince Balin's brilliant, I'll give him that, and subtle as sin. But I don't think anything in Orzammar matters more to him than winning. Badly. Oh, you're serious? Well, it's simple, I guess. The king and elected deshers of the assembly are at the top. Then it's the nobles. Then the warriors and all the craftsmen. At the bottom are servants. The casteless and criminals are below even that. Your caste is determined by that of your same-sex parent. And that's where you stay your whole life, whatever your skill. As you wish.
They're everywhere! I can't take it! What? Get away! You'll change like the rest! Monsters hidden in all my friends! There's things older than Darkspawn. And once you're in the story, they find you. See? I found copies. All from the same pen, and older than the ones in song. Dormant my ass! Take them! I want out! I won't disappear chasing a lie! I won't!
Afternoon, stranger. You looking for a stool to share a brew? Name's Naveen. I fight with Prince Balin's Expeditionary Field Unit. Yourself? Figured as much. Good folks, Wardens. I was in the deep roads when that one came by. What was his name? Dukan, Dunka... something like that. I met him, sure. Good man. Solid. He knows what we go through in the deep roads. Not many do. Not even the ones who live this close. You have to be on the front lines. I go where I'm sent, fight when I'm there, and leave politics where it belongs. Darkspawn. Not much use in turning our weapons elsewhere while those vermin still live. Every Grey Warden ends up there. That's where they send you when you're ready to leave this world. Go die in the dark, putting away as many vermin as you can. Getting more crowded these days, though. Lots of people interested all of a sudden. We go back tomorrow, and we're not the only ones. Balin ordered us in at first bell. He's splitting us into 4 teams to search for some of the lost tigers. Looking for signs of Branka, I guess. Seems to be who everyone's after. Branka was a paragon, some kind of great smith or whatnot. But she went batty and let her whole house into the deep roads more than 2 years ago. No chance she could have survived. And a lot of good men are gonna die looking for her corpse. Excuse me. This brew is starting to taste awful bitter.
Dangerous ever since the king took ill.
Topsiders? Good. Get some outside gold in here. Calm people down. Make them think we should open the gates for good.
The more cracks in the old way, the better. That's what Balin stands for. Not your business, but I see where the gold is. He's the traditional pick, yet he wants a new way, whether some like it or not. Just as many say Harrowmont, neither are paragons, and the scales being equal, I go with the promise of more trade. Can't find ore without splitting some stone. My investments are solid, I'll be fine. The Assembly has done us a favor. They've shown just how loose the sand is under our feet. It opens people to change. Orzammar will decide what we can or can't be. Blight may be imminent on the surface, but our warriors are well seasoned against dark spawn. There will be topsiders left for trade. There's no end to you. I'll take your gold. You're good for that.
Welcome, traveler. You look like you'd appreciate a chance to browse some good Orzammar steel. Aye, they say King Endrin named an heir on his deathbed, but the Deshers are too busy fighting for power. They say Lord Harrowmont's a strict disciplinarian, but a good and fair man. He's always paid on time, 10% up front. I met him once. Didn't even mind talking with one of the merchant caste. But when he left, I saw him slap around his second. If he wasn't Prince, he'd be the kind of man I wouldn't want my daughter marrying. That's a broad question. If it's gossip and ale you want, Tapster's is just east of here. If you want more action, check out the Provings. I heard there's a memorial tournament for King Endrin this afternoon. Best fighters in Orzammar. Don't go getting all imperious. If you want to talk to a noble, head up those stairs. Steward Bandalor's usually around the Assembly, and there's plenty of lordlings who'll happily talk your ear off about their authority. I hope you find something to your liking.
Welcome to Jannar Family Armorers. I must say, you look like our type of people. Looking for a new set of mail. At Jannar's, we have everything from leather to platinum. I stay out of politics. It's not good for a smith to get the attention of those who grant vendors licenses. Lord Harrowmont's a fair man. My father did business with him, and he always paid on time. But the Idukans have served us well. If it is the ancestors' wisdom to keep them on the throne, I cannot object. Aye, for 100 generations. My father made his name by inventing a fall and tacit, which were integrated into the cuirass. But, I'm guessing by your face, you're not a smith yourself. That she was. The best to walk these tunnels since Caradon himself. Threw it away, chasing old dreams, though. The best smith who ever lived, bar none. He gave us the secret of forging golems that could walk, talk, and defend our borders. When we had them, no dwarf had to risk himself against the Darkspawn. It was a golden age for the smith caste. His work was lost centuries ago when his tide fell to the Darkspawn. No one even knows where it is anymore. Didn't last 6 months as a noble before she set into the deep roads looking for ancient secrets. Now she's dead in the tunnels. All that brilliance, wasted. Of course, keep in mind we also take items on trade.
I knew I should have stuck to common nugs. I've gone and lost them too. I'll never find them the way they skitter. No way I'm going back to that supplier in Dust Town. Guess I'm shutting it down. Gotta boil them before roasting, but otherwise no, safe as sand. Some people swear they make good pets. May as well leash a turnip, I say. Good on you, stranger. Only need one to turn this around.
You look like you're not from around here. I've been trying forever to find someone who really knows the surface world. I don't suppose you've heard of something called the Circle? I've been trying to reach someone there for years. I've sent missives with every caravan, but I never get a reply. I want to know if they would accept me for study. No dwarf has ever studied at the Circle of Magi. I guess you never read First Enchanter Caitlin's treatise concerning dwarfs and the non-heritability of magic. He tested dwarfs from 20 bloodlines and found they couldn't perform any level of spell casting, regardless of lyrium exposure or time on the surface. The Circle speculates that lyrium in the stone shields us from spiritual influences, and over time made us immune to them. I want to go to the Circle to study.
I assure you that desire will depart the moment you arrive.
I don't want to do magic. No dwarf can cast spells, but I don't see why I shouldn't study it. It would be a valuable exchange. Orzammar would learn of one of the great natural forces of the surface. And the Circle gains direct access to our knowledge of lyrium smithing. That would be wonderful. My name is Dagna, daughter of Janar of the Smithcasts. Tell them I've already begun reading the Teventer Imperium's Verticum Kadab, and it's just fascinating. Did you know the Imperial Master Lords once had genealogies of every human family known to produce a mage child? Oh, I'll go pack my bags right now. I'll be waiting by my father's shop.
It seems darker this way. Perhaps this is how one leaves the Dwarven city.
This no doubt leads out to the deep roads, the ancient passages that once led to the other Dwarven kingdoms.
The deep roads are home to the Darkspawn now. Oddly, they're supposed to be safer to travel during the Blight.
What's this? A human? Did we make these tunnels tall enough for humans? I'm sorry, but I cannot allow you past the front lines without Adesh's permission. And I've heard nothing of any new patrols scheduled to leave today.
Don't let the comm fool you. The Darkspawn are down there, aren't they, Commander?
Either we finally have the edge, which I doubt, or the beasts are building up the next attack.
The surface? But I thought the vermin never went up that far except
during blights. Ancestors save us if that's what's happening. What anyone knows? She went out there with her entire house and she's never coming back.
You don't think maybe she's still there, Commander? She is a paragon, after all.
And now she's an ancestor. No one lasts 2 years in the tunnels. Of course not. Down here, you're bound to giant spiders, deep stalkers, and other vermin. Ugly beasts they are. Walk on 2 legs, but they have the head of a worm and hunt in packs. Watch out. They're not afraid to take on a group their own size. A few outposts. Legion of the Dead mostly, fools that they are. Some scavenger types too. It's an independent company of soldiers. They accept no command but their own. Anyone who can bear arms can join, no matter his crimes, or sanity. They hold a funeral when they join, and swear their only goal is a glorious death. For your sake, I hope you've no reason to come here again.
Go on, I'm out of the nut game, got nothing to sell. Saraka, I'm back in the game, such as it is. I don't have much besides gratitude, but find a bunch more of these and I'll toss you whatever I found.
Greetings, and welcome to Garen Garrison's Luxury Goods Shop. Wow, there are a lot of you. And I've never seen one of those before. The things they come up with. What was I saying? Oh, I was hoping you wouldn't notice. Most people don't anymore. Or maybe they're too polite to mention it. I had a little incident a few years back. Too much time with the raw lyrium ore, you know. Maybe it was a bad thing. I cut myself and the dust got straight in the blood. Since then, it's been a little hard for me to concentrate. Except when forging. Then I'm straight as an arrow. Best work you've ever seen. Look around the shop. See for yourself. Of course we are. Weak surfacers like you touch the raw ore, and you'll bleed from your eyeballs in hours. Weird seeing how big you are. Even surface dwarves lose it. Us down here, though, we should be able to handle it just fine. Only not too much and not every day, and not breathing the dust and not direct in the blood. Ancestors' own bad luck. Well, it's the lyrium, you know. Raw blood of the earth. It's more alive than you and me. Most of the time, that's no problem. When it's all bundled up in a piece of steel, it'll leave you alone. But handling the ore directly, sometimes you get burned. It's not just your skin it takes off. It'll burn directly into your mind. Not crazy, just a little forgetful. Don't worry, I'm fine when I work. Just look at my wares. I have the best blades here. Enchanted to hold fire, ice, anything you want to put in it. Right, best in the trade, you know. I work the ore myself.
You have come at a difficult
This
time.
is where the rich dwarfs live,
Orzammar
yes?
is ailing for want of
The
a
social
king. strata quickly makes itself evident no matter where one goes.
So the closer you live to the surface, the higher class you are. Unless you're actually on the surface.
Grey Warden arrives in Orzammar, undoubtedly to offer assistance to Lord Harrowmont.
Welcome to Lord Harrowmont's estate.
I heard there was a Grey Warden here. I am Dulin Forrender, second to Lord Harrowmont, King Endrin's own choice as successor. Word is spreading that the surface may suffer a blight. It is shameful we are not in a better position to help. In an ordinary time, Lord Harrowmont would be honored to meet you. Unfortunately, we've already caught more than one of Balin's spies approaching Harrowmont under a pretense of friendship. So I'm afraid I won't be able to take your word. If you want to speak to Harrowmont, you will need to prove he can trust you. If you wish to show you have no loyalty to Balin, then work against him in Harrowmont's name. Balin is hosting a proving today, supposedly to honor his father's memory. The Deshers take it very seriously, and unfortunately, Balin found some way to blackmail or intimidate House Harrowmont's best fighters into stepping down. It would certainly make your loyalties loud and clear.
And this is to be your king. One who cannot keep his own men from running like frightened children.
Lord Harrowmont does not use threats or intimidation to motivate his men. He leads by example.
Ah, I see. So it's his example they follow as they cower from this Prince Balin.
How dare you slander Lord Harrowmont?
Why should we ally ourselves with someone too scared even to grant us an audience? I suppose not everyone can face death as undaunted as an Antivan, it's true.
Then you agree to fight in Harrowmont's name. Balin would never work with anyone who humiliated him in that way. Harrowmont would have no fear of meeting with you then. Excellent. The arena is located off the Commons. Talk to the Proving Master and tell him you're entering Lord Harrowmont's roster. The key fighters we lost were Guidon and Baisel. You can look for them in the fighters' preparation chambers behind the ring. And be sure it's before the fights begin. After the first bout, no one may change the roster. If you need to find me again, I will wait in the Tapster's Tavern off the Commons. There is no better place to hear gossip. Perhaps even word of your victory.
So let's talk about your mother for a moment.
I'd rather talk about your mother.
Well, there's nothing to talk about. And besides, isn't your mother a scary witch who lives in the middle of a forest? Much more interesting.
To you, perhaps. You would find the moss growing upon a stone interesting.
You know what's more interesting than that? Apostates, mages outside of the tower. That's illegal.
You did not read that in a book somewhere, did you? I hope the small letters did not strain you overmuch.
Oh, we could not talk about your mother. That works for me.
This has dragged on too long. It's an insult to King Endrin's memory.
Lord Balin is the voice of change and defense. Lord Harrowmont is the voice of stagnation and ruin. I just get paid to speak the truth. If you have an issue, speak to my employer.
So, how is it the dwarves have a king? I thought they voted on everything, or something like that.
For such a short people, they do rather like their buildings tall.
This is the royal palace, then. What treasures could lie within?
What's going on? By the ancestors. Good on you, Warden. You caught them in the act.
I guess desperate times drive people to strange things.
Warden, it is always a blessing for Orzammar to host your order. I am Vartak Gavorn, top advisor to our good Prince Balin. What news do you bring? Ah, ancient documents indeed. These were signed in the reign of Eithnar Bimo, Paragon and King. That was 16 generations ago. Now the difficulty is that the treaty only compels our king, and we are sadly lacking one of those right now. No one wishes this fight over more than Balin. But while it rages, Orzammar can spare no one to combat what may or may not be a new blight. I believe you, but what are we to do? If Balin followed his heart and sent his men to aid you, Harrowmont would steal his throne. We would defeat the Blight, and return to find our homeland devastated by an incompetent tyrant. Perhaps you could prove to Prince Balin your intentions are just. If you show you owe Harrowmont no fealty, I'm sure Balin would help you. Harrowmont has engaged in a campaign of bribery and coercion to ensure that every house serves him. But if a neutral party, a stranger, were to approach certain key members, perhaps with irrefutable evidence of Harrowmont's deception, I'm certain my Lord Prince would show his gratitude. Harrowmont promised the same portion of his estate to two different Deshers, Lady Dace and Lord Helmy. Harrowmont can't possibly grant it to both of them, but they won't find out until after the vote is cast. I have copies of the promissory notes Harrowmont gave each of them. Once they see those, they should both reconsider their votes. That's not important. If they ask, say you found them while searching the Shaper's libraries for your treaty. Don't expect this offer to last. If my prince hears you swore allegiance to his enemy, he won't be so friendly next time. I will be here if you change your mind.
Your mind has gone to dust if you think we would pass such a writ. Half our houses would go broke without the service trade.
The proposal is only effective until we have a king to ensure we are respected by the surfacers.
Leaving you conveniently positioned to take over all contracts. I'll see your head on a pike first.
Deshers, lords and ladies of the Assembly. I've already doubled the guard to prevent violence. Must I summon more?
Steward Bandalore, Balin's sympathizers are tying our hands with trivialities. They may as well open us to the sky.
I suggest we put the matter to a vote.
And I suggest you have a taste of my family's mace.
Enough! The Assembly is in recess until the members can regain control of their emotions. Stone-forsaken fools and dusters. I'm sorry. This is the Assembly of the Clans. Only Deshers and occasional guests of state are allowed in. Oh, Stone. You must be the Grey Warden. I completely forgot about the Gate Guard's message. Welcome to Orzammar, Warden. I hope you can forgive our unrest. The loss of our king has hit us hard. Respect for your role is great, but don't receive a proper hearing until we have a king on the throne. I must admit, Warden, I am at a loss myself. It lies with Prince Balin or Lord Harrowmont, and they are slow to trust anyone in these uncertain times. I only wish there was more I could do for you.
There is one thing I do not understand, Alistair.
Just the one thing.
About you, perhaps. Why the deception over your parentage?
I'd figure you'd be the sort who knows all about deception.
I do. And what use the deception might have had ended when King Cailan perished, did it not?
Maybe. I guess I was sort of hoping that would go away.
The truth does not go away.
I didn't say it was a good plan.
Warden, I'm outraged. A thief in the Shaperate. What have we been reduced to? I did. He was bald, with the most garish brand across his head. Almost like he took pride in being castless. Imagine! He's probably in the slums somewhere. As if he'd find a buyer for a stolen tome in Dusttown. They couldn't...
Oh, pardon me. Were you looking for a particular volume? Not that I could really help. I, don't know the libraries very well. I'm just doing some research. I was looking for something about the Ortan Tig. It was lost during the last Blight, and there aren't many records left. They were a noble house once, descended from the Paragon Orton, who composed the grand epic of the Seven Brothers and the Ortonic Symphony. My mother's family believes they were descended from Kalana Orton, who was training in Orzammar when the Tig fell. I'm even named for the house, Orta. Unfortunately, any records would be buried in the Tig's ruins, somewhere in the deep roads. You're from the surface. What do you know about fighting Darkspawn? There aren't even any expeditions planned until they settle this election. Otherwise, you need special permission from the Assembly or some great lord. A Grey Warden? Mother always said that if anyone could find the Tig, it was the Wardens. I hear Prince Balin and Lord Harrowmont have both been sending out small teams these days. Yes, if you can find the Tig in any records, that could do it. That could prove I'm a noble. If you could. Maybe now that you're looking, it's almost too much to hope.
When I last walked this hall, Endrin was king and Orzammar was at peace. The memories often speak of the swiftness with which change overtakes us. But it is different to see it firsthand. I apologize, Warden. I should not burden a stranger with such thoughts. I am Zebor, the Shaper of Memories. The Shaperate guards Orzammar's knowledge. We have preserved in Lyrium all of the records of Dwarven history. The memories record all. They are how we know to which family a child owes life, how we trace lost Tigs. They ensure we forget nothing of our past, good or bad. That is an odd request, especially for one so new to our city. I thought so. This is not the first time he's made this plea. My answer to Brother Burkle hasn't changed. So I ask you the same. On what basis would you have me insult the ancestors and overturn 2,000 years of tradition? What sort of charities do you mean? I am not certain this is in Orzammar's best interests. Our castes have served us well, but it's possible this service could benefit our people. Very well, he may hold a prayer meeting as he requested, if not build a new temple to his god. At least the words would come from one of our own. Now, is there anything more? We were a great empire once, outnumbering even humans and elves. We traded with your Tevinter Imperium, and our land stretched as far in the deep roads as theirs did above. Kal Shirok was capital then. But we lost too many battles. We lost our golems, and we lost our territory. Now the Empire is simply ruined tunnels filled with Darkspawn. The Paragon Caridon, a smith of unsurpassed genius, invented the golems. For years they were our weapon against the Darkspawn. One golem is worth a dozen dwarves in battle, but Caridon's Tig is far into the deep roads. When it fell, we lost his secret to creating golems. There are books about it along these walls if you would read more. Yes, we have only a few dozen left in Orzammar, and I do not recognize this one. Where did you find it? Every golem is precious to us. We'd pay a good sum for a new find.
I'd sooner jump into a pit of lava.
Unfortunate. Was there anything else? I must tell the rest of the Shaperate about this discovery. At the other side of the old empire, during the last Blight, the kings of Orzammar knew they couldn't hold everything. They sealed the deep roads, abandoning everyone still trapped in far-flung settlements. It was the only way to survive. Kal Shirok is the only other city to outlast the Blight. We only rediscovered them recently, and they still haven't forgiven us. I will settle your mind if I can, Warden. All dwarves who die return to the stone as ancestors, to guide their families forever. But only one every few generations rises to Paragon. A Paragon is a dwarf whose accomplishments change Orzammar so much that the Assembly recognizes they've been born blessed. They are venerated as living ancestors and found a new noble house forever bearing their name. Branka is a paragon, now and into death. She was born a smith, but her inventions caught the Assembly's eye. Before she had seen 20 years, she created a smokeless coal. It could burn in a cave without vents and no one would choke from it. It earned her paragon status. According to our legends, 7 brothers founded our empire. The youngest, Bloodlik, was the wisest and was chosen king. His children formed the noble caste. The eldest, Gyatchet, trained his sons to defend their king. They became the warrior caste. Shotgyar founded the artisans. Orzatyar forged our first swords. It was Orzammar who dug the mines that became our city's foundations. The twins Koapar and Noct both founded trading houses, but Noct was wounded in battle. On his recovery, he swore to serve his brother's sons. The casteless descend from criminals and those repudiated by their own families, or who chose to go to the surface and live by human laws. They have no ancestors to guide them and no families to claim them. They should not have been born. Their parents defied their shame and brought cursed children into the world. It's better they die young. Their births are not recorded in the memories. In Orzammar, they do not exist. Is there something more pleasant you wish to discuss? Please, speak your mind. Your presence here has been recorded in the memories. I wish I knew what significance it has.
2 years tomorrow. By all the holy sodding ancestors, how can you people just ignore that?
Branka didn't go alone, Agra. She took the whole house, everybody but you. So just get over to Tapster's and drown yourself already. You know as well as I do that's how this always ends.
You think I'm afraid of some cub warrior who's barely off the teat? Ha! I'll...
You lift a weapon or attack a single citizen in Orzammar, and you're stripped of your caste and exiled. Even you can't have forgotten that. Get out of here before I call a guardsman.
A certain wine merchant is falling behind on his payments.
I can't imagine what you mean. I pay my expenses.
What about the expenses your good friend Jarvia incurs when providing your protection? It's not easy ensuring nothing bad happens, that no one decides to just burn everything in your store.
My store! Please, I don't have much. Business isn't good. People are scared. Tell Jarvia I'll get her money.
Jarvia's not happy with your promises, old man. Now let's go inside and see what you've been holding back.
Very well. This is all I have right now. I could get more if I sell something.
Well, well. Looks like we have a visitor. Friend of yours?
Is there a problem here, friend? Are these men threatening you?
Please, don't get involved with this. You don't know what they're like.
Then allow me to make some introductions. These are dangerous times in Orzammar, stranger. Lucky us, the merciful Jarvia is offering protection from the chaos. You're wearing some fancy stuff there. Might make you a target. So if you want the Carta's guarantee of safety, it's yours for the reasonable price of 10 gold sovereigns. Or I can't say what might happen. Whoa, whoa! All right, you win. I'm not gonna die for 10 lousy sovereigns.
Ancestors, bless you for saving my poor store. I don't know how to express my gratitude. I've never met her, of course. They say she never leaves Dusttown. That's the older area of the city where the casteless congregate. She's the one directing this depravity. Since good King Endrin died, they're getting bolder. They used to be a problem only in Dusttown, but now they're in the Commons, shaking honest men down for coin. A band of castless thugs. They're to blame for all the crime in Orzammar these days. They're criminals, and the children of criminals. The ancestors themselves declared them irredeemable. Their births are abominations. They were born from no Kalna, with no acknowledgement by the Shapers. They are destined to be criminals. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm grateful for your help, but I don't think we have any more to talk about.
What do you want? Hey, I heard about you. Grey Warden, coming from the surface. Great crisis in the world. People are saying how you've thrown yourself on Harrowmont's wagon train. I figured you'd be the one, you know, who could help me find Branka. But I guess you're just like all the rest. Branka's a paragon. Only one smart enough to be raised in the last 4 generations. She's a smith. Invented some kind of new coal that burns clean. It's been 2 years since she disappeared down the deep roads, and your boss never gave her a thought. I wonder, what does he think he can get from her now? I know he's been poking around, trying to find things out about her, what she was looking for. Won't tell me spit, though. He looking to take it for himself? A little lost technology of the ancients to throw Balin right out of the picture? Aye, of course. I'm her bleeding husband, aren't I? She left me here and took our entire house when she left. Is that what you're looking for? Well, there it is. Fine. You keep on your errands. Until your boss really commits to looking, you're getting nothing but smoke out of old Ogren.
Andraste teaches that patience is the child of wisdom, but I'm eager to hear if you've seen the Shaper. Oh, praise the Maker! You truly walk in the light, friend. I already found a convert among the merchants who offered his shop as a temporary chantry. It's just by the tapsters. Please, come to our first service.
So, what is going to keep you from poisoning your target now that you have been allowed to accompany us, I wonder?
You are. You will be watching me ever so closely to make sure I attempt no such thing.
And why would I do such a thing? Sneaking into our good graces in order to make another attempt is what I would do were I you.
And here I was becoming rather fond of the idea of you watching me closely.
It would be a simple enough matter to poison the food in camp, or cut our throats while we sleep.
You seem rather charmed by the idea.
It would seem an appropriate result of sparing your life.
Ah, well, I'm sorry to disappoint you then. The next time I am spared, I will be sure to immediately turn upon my benefactors. Will that do?
Watch for Piotr Idukin. He's won the squad combat 4 years running. He has 11 decapitations so far. He needs just 3 more for the 1-season record. You saw Bet. First cousin, son of Endrin's own sister, and a second cousin from the Knold and Idukin line. When he was alive, Prince Trian called Piotr the horns of the Idukin army. Front row seats at every grand proving since my father took me on his shoulders. Name's Varric. I got a controlling interest in a mine off the old Roostin Tig. But my backers know not to hand me a pick any day there's blood on the stone, if you know what I mean. Sure. Like King Endrin was just a noble. A proving is a sacred art. Any dispute brought to the proving ground is settled by the ancestors' decision, and no one can protest it. They change from round to round. Sometimes it's bare hands, sometimes weapons, sometimes pairs or squads. It's announced when the fight begins. That's about all the warning anyone gets. Me? Are you out of your mind? I'm a miner, not a warrior. I'm telling you, Piotr will take the prize. You can put gold on it.
The proving grounds. Bloodsport entertainment for the masses, at its best.
Ah, the highlight of underground existence, I take it.
I hear that if the spectators don't approve of a match's outcome, they rush the field and kill the fighters.
Look, I already told the Proving Master I withdrew. Do you have to keep harassing me? Well, that sounded genuine. If you weren't looking for me, do me a favor and pretend I never said anything. I left the Proving on my own business, and I have no intention of discussing it. Look, it's just, when I was younger, I had a thing with this Idukan girl, Revelka. Lesser cousin, nowhere near the throne. Her family wanted her marrying up, so they matched her with a BMO. But we didn't exactly stop seeing each other. I thought we were discreet, but she's married to a Desher's heir. He'd kill me if he knew. So I have to slink out of here like some worthless brand for fear Balin will tell the whole city. They have letters. Love letters Revelka wrote me. If they were made public, she'd be disgraced. Her husband would cast her aside, and I would be lucky to be allowed to die in a duel. No. One of his fighters, a woman named Miyaja, she's the one who threatened to expose me. There's no way to guarantee that. I appreciate the thought, but they really have me over a shaft here. You'd do that? I don't know how to thank you. I know it's my own fault, but I'd have married her if I could. If you can make sure that evidence doesn't get out, I'd be happy to fight in the Proving. But you need to find them quickly. Registrations close once the first bout starts.
Don't take it personally. Hana-shan's a member of the Silent Sisters. She doesn't talk to anyone. They're an order of female warriors, founded by Astith the Grey, a woman of the warrior caste who first fought for women's right to be soldiers. When no one listened to her words, Astith cut out her tongue and dedicated herself to training until she won a grand proving bare-handed. The women who joined her order cut out their tongues in her honor. I am Farinden. I serve as Hana-shan's trainer and translator. As a Silent Sister, Hana-shan cut out her tongue like the ancient paragon, Astith the Grey. As you might imagine, she requires my services for more mundane tasks. The Silent Sisters support the sitting king. They are loyal servants to the Idukans. Then you have lost. Even in the ring, every man and woman brings an army if people support them. But she who fights without cause is only training.
You new in the fights? I don't remember seeing you before. It's a pleasure. Sorry it can't be longer. Name's Guidon, and I just tendered my resignation. Somehow I don't think the ancestors will favor me today. I bet he did. That man thinks nothing is beneath him. Well, you could just tell him I had my reasons. It's not so much what happened, as what's going to. I heard from a reliable source Lord Harriman's already given up the throne. Balin called this whole proving to let his lordship save face when he concedes. Oh? And where did you hear this that's more reliable than a member of the Assembly? I suppose there's nothing his lordship would do without consulting Doolan. He's always been his top man. Maybe you're right. I'm just a warrior. I've always tried to stay out of these noble politics. If I find out this whole thing was some flunky of Balin's lying to me for his own gain, I'll... Maybe I will at that.
This area is off limits. Combatants only. Is that an accusation? It's illegal to threaten proving fighters outside the ring.
Not helping them keep their dirty secrets, though. That's another story. I bet you would.
Just tell Basil Hermont to fight.
Then you'll see them. On the front page of a broadsheet.
Come on, Luke John. We have a fight to prepare for.
As you say.
Allow me. I could do that for you.
The proving's almost starting. I should leave if you haven't found anything. Where did you get those? No, I don't want to know. Just... thank you. I can't say what it means to know my Revelka is safe. I will be glad to fight for Hermont in the provings. Thank you again, friend.
Fine to see you here, Warden. A number of people have told me they hope to see you in the provings. It's a rare opportunity to fight against someone so exotically trained. In fact, a few were hoping you'd take part in some informal action. Assembly restricted, not illegal. All that ritual lets nobles rationalize it's not a blood sport. They don't like commoners using the arena for petty squabbles. Some of us prefer an honest spectacle. And sometimes someone needs a good beating, and all that talking gets in the way. Say the word and I'll line up a team from one of the younger houses. They don't often get a chance to test themselves in the provings. They're a hungry bunch who employ unusual tactics. Understand that there's no concern for fairness here. Your battles will be hard won. The younger houses are interested in unorthodox tactics. Many hire mercenaries to augment traditional strengths. Anything goes is a fair description. We give small payouts, maybe a bonus from time to time, but this isn't about money. It's about skill and the chance to show it. We've got some young fighters ready to go. This will be difficult, I assure you. Go!
Help me!
Now you fall! Did a good thing.
Good job, Warden. You've earned a seats. Let me know if you want to go again.
The proving will begin shortly. I'm sure you can find a place in the stands. Or were you here to take part in the fight? Well, with politics what they are, many combatants are dedicating their fights to either Prince Balin or Lord Harrowmont, mostly Balin. It's a regular parade of past winners out there. Piotr Naidukan always leads a battle unit. He's the prince's cousin. Miaja and Lukejan are twins from the warrior caste. They fight together, put on a good show. They'll all be in their chambers if you want to talk. Well, that's a surprise. Never thought the Grey Wardens would take an interest in our king. Let me just put you into the schedule here. Now, is there a particular name you wish listed? We'll just call you Grey Warden, seeing as those human names are a real burr to pronounce. We actually have an opening in the first round. Are you ready to start? Looks like Suwern's drawn first bout. He was one of the youngest champions ever. Beat his own father at 12 years old. All for the right to earn his battle status 2 years early. Are you ready to start? Fight start at the gong and go to first blood. No eye gouging, no groin pulls. The rules of each bout will be announced when it starts. You should be comfortable with normal weapons and lyrium-enhanced weapons, in single combat, pairs, or battle units. Are you ready to start? That's what I like to hear. I will warn you, though. This is your last chance to make or meet the competition. Once the fights begin, there are no new additions to the roster. All withdrawals are treated as losses and a sign of the ancestors' disfavor. Do you want to start, or would you like some time? The fighters' quarters are behind the ring. Come back soon. You'll be fighting the bout as soon as both fighters are ready.
Never understood why everyone thinks the Grey Wardens are so great. Prince Balin will be happy to hear I've flattened you into the dirt. Watch yourself, if you want to make it to the ring.
Didn't I say I need to concentrate? There's plenty of time to congratulate me after the fight. So you're the Grey Warden? It's an honor, really a privilege. You hear so much about the Wardens. They say on the surface they're the only ones who fight Darkspawn, and everyone hails them as heroes, and... are you taking recruits? A blight? Then that must mean you want recruits. I bet you're here to pick the best fighters. Am I right? If that's true, it must be because of the king. Believe me, dwarves know their duty in regards to Darkspawn. I promise, as soon as Balin's on the throne, you'll have as big an army as you need. I've fought most of them before, of course. Miaja and Lukejan are tricky. I learned the hard way. Lukejan is the one you have to watch out for. When Miaja gets all flashy with that hammer, you never see Lukejan stab you in the back. And Piotn's the best. I mean, he's an Naidukan. I've never qualified to fight anyone of his rank before. Everyone knows about my great triumph. Youngest champion ever! No, the Proving Master announces it every time. Well, maybe we can talk after the match. You know, once you see me in action. So you're the Grey Warden Lord Harrowmont brought in to replace his missing fighters. If you're trying to insult me with my loyalty to my house, you'll find it's a tough road to hew. There is no greater virtue than family loyalty. But I'd hardly expect a surfacer to know that.
Good, you're back. I was about to start looking for you. Are you ready to fight? Remember, once the fight begins, it is final. No new additions are accepted, and all withdrawals are marked as losses. Go down to the ring, then. I'll be right there. This is a glory proving, fought under the eyes of the Paragons of Orzammar to honor the memory of King Endrin. First up is Sewern of the warrior caste. Many of you remember when Sewern made history as a lad of 12 by defeating his own father in this very ring. Today, he fights as a champion for Prince Balin. Opposing him, in Lord Haramont's name, is a member of the famed Grey Wardens.
In the name of House Idukan and our future King Balin.
First warrior to fall is vanquished. Fight!
This fight is mine!
The winner is the Grey Warden! That was an exciting start, Warden. Sewern is rarely trounced, and so thoroughly. Are you ready for your next opponent? Next, you're up against Miaja and Lukejan. As twins, they've been allowed to fight as a single person. They're warrior caste, but their mother was a smith, so watch out for Miaja's hammer. And don't forget Lukejan. Most fighters do, and end up with a knife in their spine. Are you ready to begin? Watch yourself. This crowd will only wait so long. Good, you're back. I was about to start looking for you. Are you ready to fight? The crowd is eager to see another victory. Go down to the ring, then. I'll be right there. This is a glory proving, fought under the eyes of the Paragons of Orzammar to honor the memory of King Endrin. This round, Haramont's champion takes on the notorious duo, the warrior caste twin terrors, now fighting for Prince Balin, Miaja and Lukejan.
May the stone honor you.
When you fall. First warrior to fall is vanquished. Fight! The winner is the Grey Warden! Well, that was an exciting 2-on-1, and you took them both easily. Are you ready for your next opponent? Well, this bout should be quick and dirty. You'll be fighting Hanashan, one of the legendary Silent Sisters. She's a ferocious fighter, and dedicated enough to cut out her own tongue. Are you ready to begin? All right, then. I'll see you out there. This is a glory proving, fought under the eyes of the Paragons of Orzammar to honor the memory of King Endrin. Haramont's champion has held the field so far, but how will he do against one of the legendary Silent Sisters? We'll find out as the Warden faces Lady Hanashan, who proved her worth to Paragon Ashtith the Grey by cutting out her own tongue. And to our Prince Balin by fighting in his name. First warrior to fall is vanquished. Fight! The winner is the Grey Warden! Haramont will be pleased, Warden. The Silent Sister support was a great boost for Balin. Are you ready for your next opponent? This should be a good match. You'll battle Wojek Ivo, master of all weapons, prisoner of none. He makes it a point never to use the same technique twice. Are you ready to begin? All right then, I'll see you out there. This is a glory proving, fought under the eyes of the Paragons of Orzammar to honor the memory of King Endrin. This round is paired combat. Just as Kiatchet fought as King Bloadvik II, defending our empire, so have dwarves always fought alongside a second. Master of all weapons, prisoner of none, Wojciech Ivo has never won the same way twice. What will he do today, lords and ladies? And will it win the day for Prince Balin? Grey Warden, choose your second, for you face Wojciech Ivo and Valans.
You honor me.
Last one standing will be declared victor. Fight!
More the fools they! Careful!
The winner is the Grey Warden! Wojciech Ivo is one of the best this arena has seen, Warden. Haremont picked wisely. Are you ready for your next opponent? This is the championship round, a full squad-on-squad combat. Piotr Naidukan leads the same team he's taken to victory in over a dozen Deep Roads expeditions. Are you ready to face the final test? Come back when you've picked your team. Good, you're back. I was about to start looking for you. Are you ready to fight? The crowd is eager to see another victory. Go down to the ring then. I'll be right there. This is a glory proving, fought under the eyes of the Paragons of Orzammar to honor the memory of King Endrin. Only 2 warriors remain. Fighting for his royal cousin Balin, Piotr Naidukan has led his team to triumph over every unit so far. Challenging him on behalf of Lord Haremont, the Grey Warden has risen from nothing to stand at the competition's summit. Each will lead a full unit of 4 soldiers to see once and for all whom the ancestors favor.
You fight well, but your judgment is questionable. The throne will never leave House Idukan.
Last one standing will be declared victor. Fight!
More enemies ahead. Quickly!
I see.
Run while you can!
No quarter shall be given.
The winner is the Grey Warden! Congratulations! You defeated the man Prince Trian himself once called the Horns of my army. Do you deny this Grey Warden has earned the championship? Then it is my honor to declare this Grey Warden champion of the Proving, who has shown that the ancestors favor Lord Harrowmont. Spoken like a true warrior!
You showed them. The ancestors are smiling on Lord Harrowmont today. When my arm heals, you watch out, Duster.
Not bad for a surface.
Ancestors, watch over your path.
That was a good fight. Miaja learned a lot from you.
So did Luke, John.
Let me know when you're recruiting for that army.
Your victory means nothing. The Assembly knows better than to base its vote on one proving.
Congratulations and well fought. My cousin was wise to choose you.
That was an excellent showing. We were honored by your participation, Warden.
I can't believe it! The ancestors came out of the sodding ground to kiss your feet, Duster.